Hi, I'm Jay. If you haven't noticed, my videos go from random topics to K-pop related videos. This time around, we're going on to books. I hope the book talk people don't come in here and try to, burn me at the stakes. That's kind of reserved for the K-pop fans. I'm sorry. I am an avid reader and I love reading books since I was a little penguin. But this year, I decided I wanted to get back more into reading and read more books. So we're going into the second quarter of the year, and I'm going to share what I have read so far and what I thought about these books. These books might be good recommendations for you. For the book talk people, yes, I'm talking straight in the camera right here, right now, into your eyes, staring into your soul. I'm not good at staring into people's eyes unless it's at work. You're going to recognize one of these books, and so please try not to spoil anything in the comments or keep it to the very minimal, please. And please respect my opinion on this book. I will later explain when I get to it. With that being said, this video may contain spoilers for the following book titles, and you have been warned. For our first book, a book that is non-fictional for once for me, but a very good read for somebody that's just trying to survive and answer questions along the way. Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond. If you're like me who's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in our world, especially in the United States, and not want to dive deep into the political crap on social media, or having to do a constant Google search for correct information, well, this book is for you because it has citations and footnotes. There you go. Matthew Desmond does a deep dive into why poverty will still exist here in the United States, and the most successful first world capitalist country. Poverty exists so fucking deep. He goes into societal, physiological, and political aspects of the why it still thrives in our country and why it hasn't been really resolved. What the fuck, America? Honestly, this book will make you sick to your stomach as you phantom of the thoughts on the reasons why it's still here and the research that Mr. Desmond does and presents in this book. I often had to stop a few pages in just to sit there and try to process what I just read before I continue reading. For me, it's honestly a hard read. Furthermore, it deepened my distaste towards the rich, mainly that had paid little to no taxes to contribute to our society and government programs, while the middle class pays more into it and somehow sees the lower class or people below the poverty line the reason why everything is getting expensive and why the government shouldn't spend their money on them too much. Newsflash, if we spend money on them, they thrive. If we invest into our people, we thrive. Anyways, what I like the most about Matthew Desmond's writing in this book is how he draws from personal experience and personal observations. He took them and connected them with the research he has done. They make both the experience and research in relation to each other and to us. Honestly, there's a lot of points in this book. Reading this book, I sat there. I'm like, holy shit. I'm part of the system. Anyways, he also remains as neutral as possible in this book, doing jazz on both sides of the political spectrum. So you're not having to worry about whether he's being too conservative or too liberal. He's just fuck you both. But yeah, if you're enjoying reading books like this and wanting to not scour the internet for so many posts, misinformation, news articles, all that, then start here. He has another book called Eviction that goes into housing crisis as well. So books like these are the type of books you do want to read if you want actual answers, I suppose. I need more blah. I can't get my ball open. Alright, for our next entry. Book talk. You better be paying attention. Because you guys are the ones who made this book famous. The Atlas 6. A book that I've been sitting out for 2 years and just finally got to read and finish. I don't know how to explain myself than just like it just been on the TBR list. But I'm glad I read it because honestly I love this book and I can't wait to read the second installment. Miss Blake did a fantastic job of bringing her characters to life and making me feel different for each of them. Just like how James Patterson did when I read Max and Ride in middle school. That was a fun time. Yes, I definitely dislike Callum. Dislike is an understatement. And I find Nico quite annoying, though he is an intelligent character. If I say who would be my favorite character, it would be Parissa, honestly. Not because she's hot, but she is a morally gray woman whose past remains a mystery besides what was revealed in the book. She knows her strengths and weaknesses even when she knew she was going to lose Callum and intentionally lost in order to gain something from it. Don't we love gaining something from losing, even though it hits our ego? But that scene is also my most disliked one as well, since Callum basically convinced Parissa to do an unliving in her own creative world. It's also one of the reasons why I heavily dislike Callum. Fuck you, Callum! But if we're going with a character that pisses me off the most, is Ezra. Ezra truly pisses me off, especially towards the end of how he acts. Who knows, my mind may change in the next book, but maybe. Fuck you too, Ezra. This one is the Book Talk Girlies that love dragons. Because it was a Book Talk Girly that convinced me to read the series. And I don't like the journey so far. The next book I'm about to present may get the top people onto me. Is Our Flame by Rebecca Yarros. If you haven't read the second installment in the Empyrean series, nor read the first book, skip this section because I'm about to blow. First and foremost, my heart! That goddamn fucking ending hurt more than my worst breakup ever. Hurt worse than Liam's death. In fact, I am still not over Liam's death. Now I gotta get over the death of a mother that Violet would never be able to see again after seeing how much her mom sacrificed to keep her alive. Fuck! That is all I can think about, because it's making me anxious to read Arc Storm that is now waiting for me quietly on top of my dresser. I don't know what else Rebecca Yarros could torture the characters with, plus torture us with. It was hard enough to know that Xaden became the very thing that tried to stop that they tried to stop to save Violet in case they failed on bringing up the barrier. Well, barrier? I already forgot because I was too focused on screaming! However, Iron Flame is not my favorite. Who said that? I would prefer more team building or more action in this one, and a little less spice to it. I'm sorry, Book Talk people, I don't dislike the spice, but I feel like it kind of overshadowed the second book. Or if it was toned down some, there could have been more plot, character, team developments. It was interesting to read about Violet working together with her baby-ish love rival to overcome a challenge. So I was more interested in seeing that develop further in this book. I also wanted to see more like sibling scenes in it, like seeing Brendan more and interacting with Violet besides being the big hunter around the place. Perhaps I would get that in the next one. Don't hurt me, Book Talk. For our next entry, it's one I had done a rereading of. It is The Shining by Stephen King. First, Things first, I am a major Stephen King fan, and I look up to him for inspiration as a writer myself. The Shining is the second book that I picked up and read out of the Kingverse back in high school, and I loved it. So I decided to reread the book this year just to fall in love with it again. I love the way that the dynamic of Jack and Danny has been skewed by the spirits of the Overlook Hotel, as it tries to influence Jack to take both the lives of Danny and Lindy, and how Stephen King managed to take simple things and turn them horrifying. I can imagine the tornado scenes in my head and just feel chills going down my back. Imagine having a giant ass grass lion coming after you and harming you, and though you know it's a stationary, non-living thing. That's kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of scary if we actually imagine it. Feeling how Lindy felt about the hotel, as she could tell it was slowly driving Jack mad while trying to keep Danny safe from it itself, from the hotel. But simply put, Stephen King took imagining things to the next level in this book. Some of the language used in The Shining is outdated, as in there are sayings or words that we now do not tolerate saying or using today, so it may not appeal to the younger audience than my 28-year-old ass. I also have a bachelor's in English, so I'm used to reading outdated English and using it to get context of the era it was written in, so it doesn't bother me that much. So yeah, but fun fact, I actually bought this copy on Target 2 years ago, and so when I started reading this, I was not expecting a very big misprint. It was very big to where I had to contact Random Penguin House, or not Random Penguin House, Penguin Random House, whichever on. It doesn't even say, because the publisher that this one came from is a sub-publisher of the main publisher. But anyways, I had to contact them to get a brand new copy because there's a whole ass chapter missing from the book. A whole ass chapter, so I had to wait a couple of weeks to finish The Shining. But thank you for sending me a new copy though. The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. If this book was not part of the A BookTok craze, which is kind of hard to believe, then I suggest BookTok people do make it a craze, because this book was adapted into a movie, which I haven't watched. But the book itself is a great book. In fact, if you can't tell by the cover, it is a Pulitzer Prize winner. If you haven't read Whitehead's other book, The Underground Railroad, or I think the other one's called Harlan something. I'll see the other book listed on the back of the book. That's okay. Then you're going to love this one. Even though I haven't read The Underground Railroad or the other book that he read, but now I have his thoughts on them. Collison's novel takes place in a fictional juvenile reformatory where two boys of color went together during the Jim Crow era in Florida and became great friends. Nickel Academy, and the novel itself takes inspiration from Arthur G. Dozer School for Boys, a Florida reformatory school that went under fire for the abuse and torture and murder done to the students by the officials of the school, only to be closed in 2011 after the academy failed a state inspection back in 2009, which caused a full-on investigation being ordered by the governor at the time, who is Charlie Crist, in which he served in the 117th Congress as a representative of the 13th District of Florida after losing his re-election in 2011. This is also very good because he has also helped with a lot of stuff over the years. So there you go. Give him a brownie point right here. This would be one of the many books that I would recommend for anyone to read to have a different perspective on the systematic failure of our justice system and prison system, especially around juveniles. Whitehead had that perspective clear through the lens of Elwood and Turner, and in fact, Elwood has been done the dirtiest because he didn't commit a crime when he was first arrested. It was only assumed that he helped commit it, and though he knew nothing about it. Him entering a car of a stranger who stole it was apparently enough evidence to arrest him and convict him. Elwood had everything lined up for him in life, from having a great having great grades and a great work ethic and getting ready to take college classes while still in high school. You can imagine how your feelings would be for Elwood at this time, because he was a model teenage boy who was about to go take college classes when everything was taken away from him. But the readers will be more heartbroken by the end of the book, and the way that Whitehead did it was brilliant. It was great. It was very great. And I wasn't expecting it. As you can tell, I'm trying to convince you to read the book, if you haven't noticed, by not spoiling this one that much. It is such a great novel to read, especially if you're interested into civil rights area stuff, or just want to gain a different perspective. And it does that itch right there. It scratches that itch for you. That is all for this video. Comment down below on what books you guys have read so far into the year. Maybe I'll take a look and make a cat cry. And my TBR stat cry harder the next time I get paid. Bye bye now.